So I met up with Anthony again this past weekend on Sunday, and I originally met up with him a couple of weeks ago to pick up a subwoofer to recome. And we sat around and talked for a bit, and he had his son with him. He comes up to in my area on the weekends. He lives about an hour and a half away, and he had his son with him. And I remember asking his son, are you into the car audio stuff? And he was smiling. He was like, yeah. So I told Anthony, man, if you want to throw that subwoofer in the car, I'll give you guys a demo. And they did, and they walked around to the passenger side, and they didn't get in, so I just rolled the passenger window down. And I played it, for a little bit, and I didn't go anywhere near full tilt because we met at a business location. And I didn't want to be like disrespectful. People coming in and out and things like that. But after we left and I got home, we started talking a bit. We've talked a bit for the past couple of weeks. And he was asking me about the Neo 15 and then the amplifier. And I told him, I've got the Orion 1500.1 DZ in there running at 4 ohm. So, it's on low power. But then he was asking me about the amplifiers I had, and I told him what all I had, and then he finally asked, if I would sell the Orion amp, and I said, if that's what you want, sure. And so we decided to meet up on Sunday. And I told him, I was like, I'll leave it installed, and this time I'll give you like a proper demo. That way, there's no problems with the amplifier, it's clean, and, you can hear the Neo 15 and see how it sounds and, so forth. So I played a couple of songs. And, different genres of music so he can get an idea of what it sounded like. And then I played like a rebase song. And, I think he was impressed. So, again, I don't want to speak for him. He can chime in if he chooses to. Again, he's a subscriber on here. But we talked quite a bit after that. Just standing there. And, we got everything unhooked and this and that. And he was talking about different subwoofers. And, his car is, it's a good bit smaller than mine, and he does not have, as much hatch area as I do. And the enclosure he has in there, he can't click his seats shut. So after talking a bit, and then talking even after we both got home, I finally just told him, I was like, man, have you ever thought about putting a pair of 8s in that car? They will surprise you. You will be impressed by the amount of output you can get out of a pair of 8s in that small car. Plus, you can get both of those in there and enough air volume, plenty of air volume, and you can still, you'll be able to click your seats shut. So whether I build them or not, guys, whatever he wants to do, I'm going to try to help him in any way I can. But I've been thoroughly impressed with the Neo 15. Like I told you guys before, I built a pair of 12s, a pair of 10s, and another 15, and so forth. And with this motor, I decided to go a little different with it. I built it into a D2. I put a much more compliant suspension in it with that 3-inch coil. And, again, I'm just more sound quality oriented person myself. So when I first installed it in the car, I've got jumpers on, I've got a positive and a negative, and then a positive and negative for each coil. And then I don't have to pull the sub out. I made jumpers, right? So I can just, change the jumpers to wire it up or down. And I originally had it wired at 1 ohm. And during the break-in, I scoped everything clean, but I just, turned the power down. I wanted to break it in thoroughly and so forth. And even when I did that, the amount of output and the actual sound quality of it was just great. So I guess it was a week and a half or 2 weeks went by, and I decided, well, I'll scope everything out again, make sure that it's clean, ramp up on the power. And it was, to me, honestly, it was just too much for that little car. Me personally, don't get me wrong, I love loud stuff. But just as an everyday driver and me always leaning more towards sound quality, I just chose to wire it back up to 4 ohm and, reset everything. And it sounds great. It flexes the windshield hard, flexes the dash, the steering wheel. It has a ton of output, and it don't need all that extra power to do it. But then again, like I said, if he wants to chime in, he can. So, he's a really nice guy. I get along with him great. He's an older gentleman like myself. And you know, whether I build him subwoofers or not, you know, I'll help him in any way I can. I do all you guys the same way. Now, I don't know if, you know, I tried to upload a video talking about this again before I went to bed and it just wouldn't. So I just scrapped it and thought I'd do it again today. But I don't know if you guys saw my post earlier, again, about Nate over at Annihilation Industries. You guys really should go over, check out his channel, and subscribe. Nate is a great guy. He's super nice. He does excellent work, and he's very detail oriented. So I think you guys will enjoy it. So, you know, again, go over and check out his channel and subscribe to it. Now, in the next video, I'm going to finally go ahead and go over the parts that's going in this 15-inch subwoofer here. Again, it's going to be more of a sound quality, you know, kind of a blend of that and, you know, SPL, not much so much as SPL, but more of an SQL type driver. It's going to have, you know, great output, and, you know, it's going to sound good doing it. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.